Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, and this is Scary Puerto Rican Stories. Our next story comes from our anonymous user. This happened back in college. I was a junior at Wharton, class of '85. I was dating this really fiery Puerto Rican girl. Her name was Maria. And during spring break, instead of going home, I flew down to Puerto Rico to meet her family and spend some time exploring the island. Now, her family lived in the San Juan metro area. So after I arrived, we spent some time hanging out at the beach, boozing it up, just having a good time. One day, Maria suggested we take a trip to El Yunque. She wanted to show me this secluded waterfall that she remembered visiting as a kid. Now, as a city slicker from Philly, I wasn't familiar with El Yunque, but I knew it was the only tropical rainforest in the US, and that there was supposed to be these awesome waterfalls. I was game. So, Maria, her two younger sisters, and I headed over one morning, excited to check it out. The drive from San Juan to El Yunque was about an hour or so through the mountains. As we wound our way up the curvy road, the jungle grew thicker around us until the trees swallowed the pavement completely. It was very cool, and shortly after, we found a small parking spot near a trailhead where we left the car and began hiking. Now, as soon as we started walking, Maria warned us, "Whatever you do, don't go past the locked gate. The trail beyond is closed." And I remember thinking to myself, haha, typical overprotective little sister trying to keep us from getting into trouble. And I also remember noticing that the lock was pretty flimsy, you know, one of those ones that you can just kind of pop open with a little effort. I told Maria not to worry, but she seemed genuinely scared. She insisted that if we passed the gate, we'd be on our own because no one would know we were in there. According to her, some people had even gone missing while hiking El Yunque and had never been found. I played it cool, telling her that we'd be fine, but secretly I was wondering if I should trust a guy who could sneak past a flimsy padlock. We walked along a narrow dirt path for maybe 10 minutes, when suddenly we came to a fork in the road, and sure enough, there was that locked gate. My inner 12-year-old self was screaming with excitement, daring me to open it. I looked around for anyone, but there was no one in sight. So I thought, screw it, let's go check it out. I pushed open the gate easily. On the other side stood a thick wall of tangled vines, forming a natural barrier across the path. We stopped for a second, taking in the dense foliage surrounding us. Suddenly, the air grew cooler, even though the sun was shining. The temperature had dropped by at least 10 degrees. A shiver ran down my spine and I felt like we were being watched. Then I heard a strange cracking noise in the bushes. Startled, I spun around to look, but I couldn't see anything. "Did you guys hear that?" I asked, my voice echoing strangely in the stillness. "Yeah," Maria replied, her voice shaking slightly. "Let's go. I don't want to be in here." I knew I had pissed Maria off, but her reaction was starting to freak me out a bit too. I forced a smile and said, "Hey, relax. We're fine. Come on, let's go check out that waterfall." Maria hesitated, then nodded slowly, agreeing to continue. Despite the eerie atmosphere, we pressed on, determined to find the waterfall. After what felt like an eternity, the canopy opened up, revealing a clearing. And there it was, a beautiful waterfall cascading down a moss-covered rock face into a crystal-clear pool below. The sight was breathtaking. I couldn't help but marvel at the untouched beauty of the rainforest. Maria let out a long breath, seeming relieved to have reached our destination. I could tell she'd been holding her breath, but now a smile returned to her face. As we approached the waterfall, Maria said, "This is it, the waterfall of the 3 wishes. Legend has it that if you make a wish here, it'll come true." Intrigued, I joined Maria and her sisters in tossing small stones into the water, each stone representing a secret desire. After spending some time at the waterfall, it was time to head back. As we turned to leave, I noticed something disturbing lying in the middle of the path ahead of us. It was a small animal, its body mangled and lifeless. I couldn't bring myself to take a closer look, but Maria, ever the curious one, crouched down to examine it. "Oh, my God!" she exclaimed, her voice trembling. "It's a mongoose. Look how they decapitated it." I felt a chill run down my spine as I finally got a glimpse of the dead creature. It was a mongoose, its head cleanly severed from its body. The cut was so precise it looked like it had been done with a blade, and the body hadn't even begun to smell yet, meaning it was fresh. Maria was visibly shaken. I could see the fear etched on her face. "What do we do?" she whispered, her eyes wide with panic. I felt a surge of protectiveness towards her and her sisters. I knew I needed to act fast before fear consumed her entirely. Taking a deep breath, I tried to project confidence. "Don't worry, We're gonna be fine, I reassured her, even though my own heart was pounding in my chest. Let's just turn around and go back. We'll pretend we never saw it. Though we had found a beautiful waterfall, I knew we had to get out of there as quickly as possible. The peaceful tranquility of the rainforest had vanished, replaced by an oppressive sense of dread. As we retraced our steps, the dense foliage seemed to close in around us, forming a suffocating tunnel. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent shivers down my spine. I could feel Maria's gaze on me, silently pleading for me to protect her, determined to fulfill that promise. I kept a vigilant eye out for any signs of danger. However, just as we reached the opening, signaling our escape from the dense undergrowth, my worst fears were confirmed. Hanging from a low branch in front of us was the same mongoose, its paws secured with twine. Its body dangled limply, dripping a strange green liquid. With each sway of the tree, the animal rotated slowly, like it was watching us. Horror and dread filled my being. I grabbed Maria's hand, squeezing it tightly. Ranaya whispered urgently, pulling her towards the trailhead. Adrenaline surged through me, propelling us forward. But as we fled, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the forest, piercing the thick canopy above. It was a woman's scream, raw and full of terror. My blood ran cold as I stumbled over roots and rocks, desperate to put as much distance between us and that scream. The forest, once enchanting, had transformed into a menacing labyrinth, closing in on us with unseen eyes. The sound of our own breathing and pounding hearts was the only thing that could be heard besides the incessant buzzing of insects. Finally, we burst out of the trees, collapsing onto the forest floor, gasping for breath. As we lay there, listening intently, the sounds of the forest slowly returned. Birds chirped, insects buzzed, and the wind rustled through the leaves. The terrifying scream was gone. Shaken but relieved to have escaped the unnerving spectacle, we reported our experience to the park rangers, who seemed skeptical but took our claim seriously when they saw Maria's distressed state. They filed a report, but to this day, I haven't heard back from them. As for Maria, she never forgot that harrowing adventure. It changed something in her, a deep-seated unease that lingered in her eyes whenever we talked about it. The joy and wonder that had once radiated from her when discussing El Yunque were replaced by a haunting memory she could unshake. Though years have passed since that fateful hike, the enigmatic events of that day continued to captivate my thoughts. What did we stumble upon in that remote part of El Yunque? And what was behind that blood-curdling scream? These questions still echo in my mind, unanswered, the mystery only deepened by the enigmatic smile on Maria's face. It serves as a constant reminder of the unsettling truth. Some places are best left unexplored, some secrets undisturbed. Hey, this is Scary. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will be reading from a popular so let's jump right into story number 2. The Man on the Beach Road. Spring break last year was supposed to be a chill trip, just me, my dog Bean, and my 3 close friends, Jackson, Ariel, and Isabel. We chose a remote beach in Alabama to camp on, a stretch of coast so secluded that we didn't see a single soul. It was perfect until it wasn't. As we were setting up our tents, Ariel noticed an old SUV circling nearby. It passed twice before eventually stopping about 200 yards away. A tall, skinny man with greasy brown hair got out and started walking toward us. From afar, he looked like he was in his mid to late 30s, and he had a scraggly goatee and long greasy hair. He was wearing cargo shorts and a wife beater. As he got closer, we could see a large kitchen knife strapped to his thigh. "You guys need to get off my property," he yelled as he approached us. I looked at where he was standing. We were on a public beach. Sorry bro, but we're not on your property. This is a public beach. You must be mistaken," I said. "You guys are trespassing. Get off my property right now," he repeated himself. He was getting closer and closer, and I could see that he had bulging biceps and forearms. "Listen, man, if you don't tell us what's going on here, I'm gonna start to get a little uneasy," I told him. "Like I told you guys, you're on my property and I want you to leave." "No," he said. He kept getting closer. I don't know why I thought this would work, but I decided to play dumb. Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a public beach. Anyone can come here. Why are you threatening us?" He took a step closer, and I noticed his teeth were yellow and crooked. He pulled his knife from its sheath and waved it around, making the tip point at me. "Get off my property or I'll kill you." My heart skipped a beat. I looked down at the knife and then back at the man. He took another step forward and I took a step back. I turned and ran for my dog. Bean was a giant Doberman and my best friend. If anyone ever threatened me, he wouldn't hesitate to attack. And I knew that if he bit that guy, he probably wouldn't be able to run after me. I knelt next to Bean and whispered, "Go get him." I don't know if he understood what I was saying, but he took off after the man, jumping and barking furiously. The man screamed and dropped his knife. He tried to grab Bean, but my dog was too quick for him. He dodged the man's grasp and continued to bark and lunge at him. The man ran to his SUV and got in. He rolled down the window and screamed, "I'm gonna kill you, you damn dog." Then he sped off. Bean came back and licked my face repeatedly as if to say, "It's okay, I got him." I patted his head and thanked him over and over. Jackson, Ariel, and Isabel ran over and asked if I was okay. Yeah, I'm fine," I lied. I was shaking and my heart was racing. "Let's just pack up and go home," I said. They agreed, and we quickly packed up our stuff. We all got in the car except for Bean. He wouldn't stop barking and growling, and he wouldn't calm down. "He's probably still out there," I said. "Why don't you get in the car, buddy?" Isabel asked. She went to open the door, but she stopped when she saw the flat tires. All 4 of them were completely flat. "Oh my gosh," she said, "what do we do?" "Don't worry," I said. "I have a tire repair kit in the trunk. It's not much, but it'll help us get out of here." I opened the trunk and started digging through my things. There was the tire repair kit. Perfect. I gave Ariel the flashlight and told her to look under the car and find the jack and lug wrench. Jackson stayed behind to comfort Bean while Isabel and I changed the first tire. We finished changing the tire and were just about to change the second one when I heard something. I turned and saw a police car coming toward us. I waved frantically and the police car slowed down. An officer walked up to me and asked if everything was okay. "Oh, thank God you guys are here," I said. "My friends and I were camping here and we got into an altercation with a man who claims this is his property. He also slashed all of our tires." The officer looked at the tires and sighed. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry, but we're a little busy right now. We're searching for a man matching your description of the one you just told me about. He's wanted for questioning in regards to a recent assault." I nodded my head and stepped aside as the officer searched the area. About 15 minutes later, the officer came back and told us that they weren't able to find the man, but they did offer to drive us out of there since our tires were slashed. We thanked them and piled into their cruisers. The officer drove us all the way to the nearest gas station. Once we were safely inside the gas station, I called my dad to let him know that we needed a ride home. "Dad, I'm really scared. Some guy tried to kill us tonight," I explained. "Are you sure you guys are okay?" he asked. "Yeah, I'm okay, I promise. But can you please come get us? Our tires are slashed and we don't feel safe staying there anymore." "Of course, sweetheart, I'm on my way." About 20 minutes later, my dad arrived and we all piled into his car. Once we were settled in, I looked back at the beach. The only thing I could see were the flashing lights of the police car. I hope they caught that guy. When we got home, I poured myself a glass of water and sat on the couch. "That was insane," I said. "What would have happened to us if Bean hadn't attacked that guy? I don't even want to think about it," Ariel replied. "That man was crazy." "Yeah, he sure was," I said. I couldn't stop thinking about the man's face. He looked so familiar, but I couldn't place it. Suddenly, I gasped, "Guys, come see this." I grabbed my phone and opened the photo app. I scrolled through my photos until I found the picture I was looking for. "This is that guy," I said. I showed them a picture of the man from earlier that day. "Holy crap," Jackson exclaimed. "He's the same guy who circled us in his car." "So what do we do?" Isabel asked. "I don't know," I said. "Should I call the cops again?" "I don't think we should bother them anymore," Ariel said. "They already did a lot for us today." "Okay," I replied. The next morning I woke up and checked my phone. There were 10 new text messages from an unknown number. I clicked on the messages and began reading. "Hello. I saw you guys at the beach yesterday, and I wanted to say thank you. My brother has been acting out lately, and I think this was a good wake-up call for him. I'm glad that you guys were okay. Please respond so I know that you've got this message." I smiled. Thank goodness that man's brother sent this message. At least he knew his brother was in trouble. At the end of the day, I'm just grateful that everyone is okay. If Bean hadn't defended me, who knows what that man would have done. But now I'm curious, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Let me know in the comments below. And that is the end of today's Reddit stories. If you like these stories, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also hit that subscribe button because I put out new videos every single day. Welcome to my channel where a crazy night turns into a nightmare. I've never been the most trusting person. I always think the worst of people. And even though I like to have fun, I'm not really an outgoing person. It takes a lot to get me to go to public events or meet new people. So it was really surprising when my friend Michelle talked me into going to our first spring break in Miami. "Come on, Jules," she said. "You work too much. You need to let loose. There will be hot guys everywhere. Just relax, have a drink, and enjoy yourself. I knew she was right, but I was terrified. But I promised Michelle I would try. And, thankfully, Miami exceeded all of our expectations. The weather was perfect and the beaches were amazing. And I actually had a great time hanging out with Michelle. We met lots of fun people and we even met 2 cute guys, Will and Ken. They were both around 25 and lived in Miami. They said they could show us around and help us experience the real Miami spring break. Michelle and I looked at each other and smiled. Why not? We decided to take them up on their offer, and we spent the next few days going to bars, dancing, and soaking up the sun. On the 3rd day, Michelle and Ken disappeared for a bit. They said they wanted to go somewhere else and come back later. About an hour after they left, I received a text from Ken. He asked if he and Michelle could borrow some money. It was weird, and I don't know why, but I didn't want to lend them any money. So I told him that I didn't want to give him my cash, but I could transfer some money to his account. He thanked me and said he would pay me back soon. An hour passed and they still hadn't come back. So I called Michelle. It went straight to voicemail. I left a shocked message, but I didn't think much of it. I tried calling again, but it just kept going to voicemail. I was getting worried. Where were they? Had something happened? I decided to call the last place they were seen, the bar. The bartender said they had left about an hour ago, but he wasn't sure where they went. I thanked him and hung up. Then I got a text from Michelle. Jules, can you open the back door for me? I almost jumped out of my skin. I thought I had imagined the text because she hadn't been texting me in a while. I got no reply. I looked out the peephole, and there was no Michelle. I only saw Will trying to peek through the window. I was scared. I closed the door and locked it. I tried calling Michelle again, but this time she picked up. Hey, she sounded confused. What's wrong? Where are you guys? We're on our way back now. Don't worry. Okay, but where are you? The line went silent. I could hear commotion and voices in the background. Then Michelle whispered, don't answer any more texts. Don't ask any questions. Just open the back door when we get back. Then she hung up. I stared at the phone in disbelief. What was going on? Was she serious? Then I got another text from the number. Opened the back door. I didn't reply, but I could hear someone trying the doorknob. I screamed, go away, and banged on the door. The sound of footsteps running away echoed in the hallway. I called Michelle back, but it went straight to voicemail. This is when I started freaking out. I tried calling 911, but they didn't answer. I tried calling Ken, but his phone went straight to voicemail. I tried calling Will, but he didn't pick up. I paced back and forth in the apartment, not knowing what to do. When I heard the front door open, I froze. Who was it? Was it Michelle and Ken? Or was it someone else? 5 minutes later, Michelle walked in with a wild look on her face and her hair a mess. Michelle, I breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God you're okay. Where were you? What happened? Why did you make me open the back door? I don't know, she said. It's so weird. We were at the bar, and I had a couple too many drinks. Then I blacked out for a second. When I woke up, Ken was gone and Will was acting super weird. Like he was avoiding eye contact and he kept looking around nervously. I tried calling you, but your phone was off. And then he started acting even weirder. I swear, Jules, he was acting like a total creep. He kept following me around, trying to keep me away from the window. At one point he literally covered my eyes and pulled me away from the window. I could hear people outside and I was screaming, get away from me. That's when Will panicked and ran to the bathroom. I don't know what he was trying to do. Then I got a text from you saying you were calling the police and he freaked out and tried to run away. That's when I followed him outside and lost track of him. I looked around and realized I didn't know where we were. I couldn't find Ken anywhere either. I was so scared, Jules, I had no idea what was going on. I ended up walking barefoot down the beach until I found a gas station where I could call you. But the creep who tried to break into our apartment, who was he? I don't know. I think he must have known Ken before because he called Ken multiple times. I think he was looking for him, but I have no idea why. I hugged Michelle tightly. Oh my God. I was so worried you were kidnapped or something. Are you sure you're okay? She nodded. Yeah, I'm fine. I think we should call the cops though. Michelle and I looked at each other in horror. Who could it be? I slowly walked to the door and peered through the peephole. It was Will. But as soon as he saw me looking at him, he turned and walked away. Michelle and I stood there staring at the peephole. Will had returned. When the police arrived, we told them everything that had happened. The officer who took our statement was nice and understanding, but I could tell he didn't believe us. He looked at us skeptically and asked us a bunch of questions. He told us that since nothing concrete had happened, nothing had been stolen, and no crime had been committed, we couldn't press charges against him. And I know what people are thinking. Why didn't you press charges for attempted burglary? Well, I was scared. I didn't want that guy coming after me. And honestly, I didn't want to deal with the police. I was already terrified being in Miami. I didn't want to make things worse. The cop filled out a report and left. Michelle and I didn't leave the apartment for the rest of the trip. We were too scared to go anywhere else. We spent the entire time calling Michelle's phone, which had been stolen, and no answer. Our flight home, we didn't even want to tell our parents where we'd been. We were so embarrassed and scared. I cried on the plane ride home, replaying everything that had happened over and over in my head. What if Michelle hadn't texted me and told me to call the police? What if I had believed Ken and Michelle was just drunk? Would we have gotten kidnapped? I felt sick to my stomach thinking about it. I haven't been back to Miami since, and I don't think I ever will be. I never want to see Will again. To this day, I often wonder what Ken and Will's plan was. Did they drug the drinks? What were they planning to do to us? It's scary to think what might have happened if we hadn't gotten away. I hope, wherever they are, they're finally caught. Have you ever experienced something similar? Let me know in the comments below. And please remember to share this video with your friends so they can stay safe. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more terrifying stories. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reading from a subreddit, so let's jump into it. Story 4. The Stolen Identity. This happened about 10 years ago, so I was maybe 20 years old. I was really good friends with a girl named Michelle. She had a boyfriend at the time named Will, who I thought was a total dude. He always seemed to get mad at Michelle for no reason and would yell at her. Michelle, of course, would always apologize and try to make him happy. One day Michelle came over to my house and told me that Will had taken her phone because he was trying to see who she was talking to on social media. Of course, I told her to delete the app, but she said that Will threatened to break her new phone if she deleted it. At this point, I was really worried about Michelle. She was usually such a bubbly person, but lately, she was super down and was always trying to please Will. A few days later, Michelle came over again and told me that Will had taken her phone again, and that he was making her delete all her social media apps. She was really upset and stayed over at my house that night. In the morning, she left to go home because Will had somehow taken her passport as well, and she was worried he would leave the country without her. At this point, I was seriously worried about her. I tried calling her multiple times, but her phone went straight to voicemail. I texted her and asked if she was okay, and if she needed me to call the cops. She responded by saying, "I'm fine, I'm just hiding. He's looking for me." Michelle texted me some more and said that she had an idea and that I would have to help her. She said that we should switch phones so Will wouldn't find her. I agreed, and we switched phones. At first, I didn't think anything of it. It was just a precaution. Then I started getting texts from Michelle's number. At first they were normal, but then they started saying things like, "You have unlocked the back door, and he is coming." I was confused and a little scared, so I called Michelle, but it went straight to voicemail. I checked the front peephole and saw Will. He was lurking just out of view, but I couldn't see his face. That's when it hit me. Michelle wasn't there. Her phone was with me. The guy who had been texting me was pretending to be Michelle. I don't know how long Will was there, but he eventually left. The next morning, I woke up early and got a text from Michelle's number saying she was outside and to open the door. I didn't respond. I was still kinda scared, but I also felt bad because I knew that Michelle was probably hiding somewhere and probably scared. So I decided to go out and check. As soon as I opened the door, 2 cops were there and they tackled Will and brought Michelle inside. She was drunk, terrified, and crying. Apparently she'd gotten lost after Ken took her phone and had been wandering around the city. Someone helped her and she was able to call the cops. Will and Ken were long gone, but Michelle's phone was found in the pool. The police confirmed that the number Will gave me was fake. He'd either been using a burner or stolen device. That night still haunts me, not just because of what happened, but because of what almost happened. If I had opened that door, I might not be here to tell this story. I hope Michelle is doing better these days. So, I really hope that Michelle is doing okay now. Glad you got away, okay? That is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. From inside the house, I can't see anything, but then the doorknob starts to turn. I scream for Lena. He wants in. Oh my god, Lena help. I fumble for the deadbolt, but my hands are shaking so much I can't get it to click into place. Then I hear his voice. Let me in. Please, let me in. I just want to talk. I keep screaming for Lena, but she's not here. She's at the grocery store. Of course she's at the grocery store. Why isn't she home? Let me in, please, he says again. and this time I hear chains dragging metal moans. I don't know what he wants, but I won't let him in. I don't know who this guy is, but I can hear how unstable he is. I can hear the desperation in his voice, and the sound of those chains is terrifying. You said you'd never wear that red jacket again. No. Okay. So, a few weeks ago, I posted about a creepy encounter that happened to me in college, and today I have a story that's kind of a follow-up to that one. It takes place in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm going to tell you about a jacket. My name is Anna and my friend Lena, and I booked a spring break trip to Charleston, South Carolina, trying to do something low-key and affordable. Things were going well, great food, fun bars and cute shops. Then it got creepy. During lunch one day, I got a strange text from an unknown number. Hey. I ignored it, until a second one came, look outside, then a third one, my name. The realization hit someone knew who I was, and was watching me. Later that night, while at a rooftop bar, I got another message, nice red jacket. That's when it hit me. I was the only one there wearing red. It was cute at first, this little mystery but after that third message, I felt uneasy. We left the bar and headed back to the Airbnb. We locked everything and tried to relax. We ordered food via Uber Eats, and while waiting for our order, we got messages from the driver. He asked us to come outside and sign something. I told him to just leave it at the door, but he kept knocking and yelling my name. Then he started jiggling the doorknob. Lena called 911 just in time. Cops showed up and caught the man trying to run from our house. He was a delivery driver from a local cafe. We had entered a giveaway at the cafe earlier that week, and the creep had taken photos of the entry form. He used the info to find our Airbnb and impersonated the delivery driver. I think he wanted to lure me outside. The police said he had a violent record. We ended up canceling the rest of our trip and heading home. Thank God Lena was quick to call the cops, and thank God we locked the doors. This story has a lot of what ifs. What if we hadn't entered that giveaway? What if Lena hadn't been at the grocery store? What if I had answered the door? What if I had opened the door? What if I had argued with the driver? It was scary. But by dumb luck and Lena's quick thinking, it didn't go horribly wrong. But I've never worn that red jacket again, and I don't blame you. Wow, thanks for sharing that, Anna. That is quite the story, and I'm glad you and Lena are okay. And also thank you for calling in the police. And hey, maybe don't enter giveaways at random cafes, because some people might take an unhealthy interest in you. Also, we have a new podcast and the link is right over there. If you want to hear more stories like these, you can subscribe to our podcast on various platforms. And as always, thanks for listening.